Okay, this show gives me acid reflux. Hey, what's up and hello? This is the Chris Nicole giving you my views on life, love, and the world of entertainment through my eyes. And this is my review on Power Book 2 Ghosts, Season 3, Episode 6, Land of Lies. Okay, I'm going to be honest with y'all. This show for me is sometimes painful to watch. Like I said, it gives me acid reflux. It just makes me so uncomfortable because they're trying to force us to swallow this unrealistic bullshit. But yeah, I'm gonna still review it, and I definitely want your comments below, and I want you to give me your feedback. Am I tripping on certain things, or am I correct? Let me know. So let me get started. So we see Monet viewing Lorenzo's body, and meanwhile, the kids are all gambling, having freaky tales, living it up, and they get a call from Monet that their father is gone. Next, we see Effie up, and Tariq is looking at her like she is public enemy number one. Effie then lets Tariq know that Lorenzo was killed, so he's shocked by that, but he ends up leaving Effie while Effie is looking like something is up with Tariq. So Sax tells Davis Lorenzo is gone, and Davis tells Sax that he hasn't heard from the family. But Davis also asks Sax that, does he know anything about Lauren's death investigation because Tariq told him that there's an investigation. And of course, Sax lies his ass off, claiming he doesn't know anything. And I just don't understand how Sax is still alive with all of the shady stuff he's done season after season. But at that point, Davis changed the subject and asked Sachs if he has a governor connection to get his brother out of jail. So Lauren goes to her old house and sleeps in her bed, and Jenny finds her there. Jenny tells Lauren that she can't see her parents, and if she decides to not cooperate, it will be an issue. Lauren says fine, but she wants to speak to Sachs alone. Little does she know Sachs is just as much of a liar as Jenny is, but okay, girl. So now we are at the normal exposition scene of the classroom. And for those who may not know, exposition for TV and film, in my opinion, is like a lazy way to get information out to the audience about the character or the plot. And every time I see that classroom scene or see any of those classroom scenes in Power Book Ghosts, that's what I feel. I feel that that is their lazy way of putting information out there to us. And this is definitely an exposition scene about truth and deception. Very clever writers when your actual title is called Land of Lies. But moving on. So Monet looks like a demon with her red hair as she sits at the table with her kids, acting as if she didn't get Lorenzo killed. And she tells the kids that she doesn't want them to make a move on Lorenzo's death until they know for sure, especially with the Russians, because she doesn't want to start a war. Drew is pissed and storms off. Meanwhile, she gives Keynes Lorenzo's life insurance policy and tells him that he can help by cleaning the money. Now, maybe I'm lost here, but the last time I checked, a life insurance policy is legit money. So why do you need to clean it? I'm confused. Now, granted, they paid for it with drug money to get the insurance policy. They paid the, monthly fee or whatever the case may be, but the insurance policy itself is legitimate. So let me know in the comments, am I tripping or why do they need to clean that money? So anywho, Kane questions his mother like he knows his mom is a she-devil and that she got his father killed. And it takes one to know one because he is just as heartless as his mama. She denies it, but I don't think he's buying it. And instead of Monet showing emotions and sadness as to why her son would even think that, She instead says, well, if I killed him, why wouldn't I kill you too, since you was holding his secrets? And then she calls him a dumbass. So at this point, I just want to know who is going to kill Monet, Kane or Diana? Because one of them going to get tired of her ass to the point where they're going to kill her. And it's going to be the same repeat as the first Power, where Tariq kills his own father. So Tariq, being a black man, decides to beat up Brayden in his own family's building, saying he wants to know what really happened to Lauren. Brayden tries to lie at first, but eventually tells Tariq that Kane said he needed to handle Lauren because she had on the wire. Tariq says that this has to be Effie pulling the strings. So next we see a snake meeting a snake, Saxe and Tate. Pretty much Saxe is trying to convince Tate to get Davis' brother out of jail. But of course, Tate wants something in return, which he wants Davis to run against his opponent. So with that, that was pretty interesting and clever. So Davis can run and he can pretty much do all of Tate's dirty work, which in my opinion, I personally feel like, I don't know why they let power influence go. I thought it would be pretty dope to see Tate, dig deeper as far as his political game and in the political world in NYC. I don't know why they let it go, but I feel like that would have been a dope show. But anywho, so pretty much clever move where he's like, okay, you have someone else do my dirty work for me. So with that, Saxe says done, but we'll see. So anywho, Jenny, which is Miss Saxe, comes to the bar and she pretty much blackmails Saxe and says that, yeah, you need to do this or else. It's funny because Saxe and Jenny are so much alike, but Jenny just does it better than Saxe. So at the end of the day, that's what he's really mad about. I don't think he's mad that she's shady because he's shady. I think he's mad that, damn, she's just more ruthless and she can do a better job than me. So Tariq takes Effie far out in the woods and they're having a vulnerable moment when they're talking about their past or whatever the case may be, until she realizes he is taking her to the lake that Effie tried to drown Lauren in. And again, how does he know where this lake is? I'm a little confused because it's not like he was out there with them. So how did he know exactly where to go? Am I missing something? Please, again, drop your comments because, again, I'm thinking they're dropping the ball on this stuff. So Tariq's lying ass pulls out the truth out of Effie. And it's funny how he always wants people to tell him the truth, but he lies all the time. But this time, Effie does have a point. Because even though Lauren was a civilian, there was no guarantee that she was going to disappear forever and not be a threat unless she was taken out. However, Tariq, this is the same girl. Effie is the same girl who purposely got you expelled from school for her own benefit. So why in the hell did you ever trust her again to begin with? See, at first I thought they were trying to use Tariq as a way to play Effie to a certain extent, because I always felt like he knew he could not trust her. But he making it seem like he actually fell in love with her. And I'm like, you knew what she was all about from the beginning, stupid. But anywho, Lauren speaks to Saxe, and it's clear that Jenny told him to say whatever to make sure Lauren wants to turn against Tariq for good. So next, Tyreek is bold enough to cut Braden and Effie out of the business, okay? And he meets with Kane, and Kane is pretty much like, where's Braden at? Where's Effie at? And Tyreek's like, I cut him out of the business. And so Kane figures out, that Tyreek clearly had to find out about what they did with Lauren. And Kane is smirking at this point because he sees that there's a way for him to divide and conquer at this point. So with that, he's grinning and he's like, okay, my plot to be the devil that I know I am begins. So Brayden meets up with Kane, and Kane gives him the insurance policy saying, can Brayden keep the money clean? And again, it's an insurance policy. I'm still confused about that. That's the whole point of an insurance policy. If something happens to you, that money is used to take care of the family bills or whatever the case may be. So Kane puts a bug in Brayden's ear that Tariq ain't shit without him. And so again, Brayden leaves, and then Kane has this smirk on his face. Like, I don't know. I just think certain things can be just much more subtle than how they do things. Like, we don't need to see a grin every time someone is being evil. The acting in itself or the writing in itself should let us know how this person is moving without having this like cartoon evil grin at the end. But anywho, during the repast, Kai approaches Drew and Kane and tells them that he's hearing that they're being soft by not taking action on their father's murder, but then proceeds to disrespect Monet, and Drew's about to lose it, and Monet pulls him away. Drew talks about, getting at the Russians because he does say, look, Kai does have a point, and Monet tries to change the subject about putting him in charge again and being shady and doing also a divide and conquer with her own kids. Yeah, so like I said, Kane and Monet, they clash a lot because they're just alike. So Diana kicks out her boo thing, Celine, because he told the truth about her family, because he did tell the truth. However, he was telling her the truth at the wrong time. Now, here's another dumb scene. Tariq goes to the Weston office and tries to scan his internship ID and realizes he can't get in until he speaks to Brayden. Tariq, you beat him up, you take him out of the business, and you still show up for your internship? Like, I don't get it. And again, this has to do more with the writing. I don't get it. Unless maybe they are trying to show how arrogant and untouchable he thinks he is. But this is another scene again that annoyed me and was hard to swallow. So, anywho, Brayden starts to show his balls and tells Tariq that he needs to show him some respect. And I actually have to agree with that, because truly a lot of Brayden's resources, the reason why they can continue the way that they're continuing. But with that being said, eventually there's going to be big beef between Brayden and Tariq. Like, it's already being set up that way. Next, we see Tariq with his big mama, and this is the typical white boy. Why? Why? Oh my gosh, I'm so alone. You're just like your daddy. Like, it was one of those scenes, like straight out of those, gospel plays. Yeah, it was one of those scenes. And she tells him that he's just like his father and he will end up dead like him if he doesn't stop. Then he lies to his big mama and pretty much says that he's going to get out of the game. We know he's lying, but anywho. So Drew talks to his boo thing, aka his daddy's killer, saying he needs to attack the Russians, but he needs more bodies. He needs more muscle to help him. So, which honestly, this is going to be quite interesting when he finds out he's the one who killed his father and not the Russians. So, Tariq goes to see Diana, and while he claims he will help her with her operation, but in reality, he just wanted revenge, freaky tales to get back at Effie. And Diana just loves to play second fiddle to Effie and Lawrence. The Effies and Lawrence of this world. Like, literally, Diana has no problem being the hand-me-down second fiddle. And I'm just like, really? Like, Diana, come the hell on. Like, how desperate can you be? And Salim is about to walk into the room with some beautiful flowers, of course, trying to apologize. The classmates are kind of like giggling at him and saying, look, she busy. Like, she got somebody in there. And he's like, does she has another guy in there? It's like, nah, fool. Nah. Like, of course, you got another guy in there. So, anywho. So, Drew goes to the Russian restaurant. And again, another scene that was hard for me to swallow, because this is supposed to be a top operation. The Russians are supposed to be a crew that you do not mess with. And yet, he is able to just walk into the restaurant as a delivery guy. And the way that he's able to keep this woman who approaches him and says, well, you're not, the normal delivery guy. he tries to say, hey, can I get your number? You fine. Can I get your number? And she acts like she's never heard a compliment before. And next thing you know, he's just allowed to go in like it's nothing. Like, really? No muscle is around there to check you and to verify who the hell you are? Like, again, just make it make sense. It's not adding up. So at this point, Drew runs up on the Russian guy who is literally sitting there drunk. And the thing is that the guy sits there while Drew runs up on him about him killing his father. And instead of this Russian guy being on defense, ready to, be prepared for whatever comes his way, he's like, who the F are you? And he's sitting down while Drew was like standing right there. The only time he gets up is when he hears gunshots outside. And I'm like, okay, so you hear the gunshots outside. You get up and say, what's that? But the biggest threat is the person who's standing right next to you. And so you focus on outside versus the person that's standing right next to you. Next thing you know, Drew stabs him right there. And okay, I get it. The whole point is the killing is about to create a war, but there was such a better and clever way to do it. Again, a scene that was just not realistic, but I digress. So Effie goes to Diana to try to be partners with her because she is trying to create her own money outside of Tyreek. And she finds Tariq in the room with Diana. And so, of course, again, like I said, at this point, Effie's like, screw all of y'all. And we already know how Effie can play. She can play real dirty. So we will see how this goes. So Brayden goes to Kiki trying to clean the unverifiable cash, which is the insurance policy. And so Kiki's like, look, I'll create a paper trail, but I want to cut. Brayden says, fine. Again, an insurance policy should have a paper trail, but whatever. So Diana takes the product and hides it in the brick wall. And while she looks around, she doesn't look up and notice that there's a camera watching everything. So Tariq is being followed on the train and realizes that the guy with the horrible accent is following him. He tells Tariq that, pretty much the whole crew needs to do the meetups and the drop-offs. And Tariq needs to alert them if he ever switches up on his normal course again. And he's like, all right, fine. So Tariq speaks to his big mama when he leaves, and he tells her that she is going into witness protection and he will still be out doing his thing. So another question I have, can people just randomly be placed in protection, like witness protection, at different times? So meaning that usually I'm assuming there is one file for that person who's in witness protection. If I'm not mistaken, either the whole family has to go in or that one person go in, but you can't have multiple people going under the same file and meeting up with each other at different times. At least that's what I'm thinking. Like, we literally have Tasha, who was in witness protection, and then her child was able to get in witness protection with her later, and then now the grandmother, like, I don't know if that sounds right, but again, let me know in the comments if I'm accurate or not. Now we have the funeral scene, and Jenny and Blanca are at the funeral with a folder of Diana putting the product in the brick wall, and they say that they're not going to make a move yet. They need more proof. Then outside, while they are taking out the casket, the Russians do a drive-by, and while they don't get anyone hurt, one of their guys ends up dead. And Kane actually has some sense in this scene because he wants to check Drew for getting them into a war with the Russians, but Monet checks him and Kane walks away pissed. Then Kane randomly goes to Effie and says that he will help her on the side because he walks in with Effie trying to crash their site. And so with that, he's like, look, I'll give you some product on the side. You can make your money without Tariq knowing. He will eventually have some freaky tales with Effie. He's been trying to get with Effie since last season. So we know it's about to go down. So Davis calls Monet, telling her the police got the Russians now, but he doesn't know how long they will be in custody, but to stay low. Then we see Monet having a situation where her mind is playing tricks on her, and she sees Lorenzo sitting at the table, and pretty much this is just a, scene where Lorenzo is haunting her, and he says that the kids will never forgive her when they find out what she did. And that's the end of the episode. And so with that being said, like I said, there's certain scenes that I just feel like they're just trying to get through the episode, and they're sometimes just not taking time to really think it out. I don't know. But I mean, at this point, with the audience that they have, why should they? People are going to watch regardless. So I'm still going to review it. I'm going to give you guys my opinion on the show. However, like I said, my personal opinion, Raising Kanan is the best Power franchise. I mean, as far as like the Power books, Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, that's my shit. So when that comes back on, I will be all on it. But I will still continue to do the reviews on Power Book 2 Ghosts. Please like, share, and subscribe. And please comment below because maybe I'm missing something. Let me know what you think about this episode and if I'm right on the money about certain things that just were stupid. So, anywho, I'll see you on my next video. Peace.